regular meeting of the New Albany Clay Local Board of Education. It's nice to have those of you in the audience with us this evening, and welcome to those who are viewing at home or at work or anywhere else you might be watching this scintillating video. So with that, a very professional welcome. I'd like to call the meeting to order and request a roll call, please.
Mr. Newmoff is absent, though I believe he's on his way. Ms. Kalinowski? Here. Mr. Darrow?
Here.
Mr. McClellan?
Here.
President Kohler?
I am also here and would like to invite everyone to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, our first order of business this evening is to approve the minutes of both the September 12th and the September 26th meetings of the board. We have all had an opportunity to review the minutes. May I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Kalinowski? Yes. Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes, that motion carries. And we are now at the point where we will approve the agenda. I know that there are at least 2 additions to the agenda that I'm aware of. I'm going to turn first to Mr. Sawyers. And if you could let us know, I believe that you do have an addition to the agenda this evening.
I do. Thank you, President Kohler. Board of Education members, under the superintendent's items for personnel action, page 4, number 3, letter A. The chart has been revised to include a 3rd hire this evening. This afternoon, Ms. Jenkins and Mrs. Honaker concluded the interview process for the next Central Office Department Secretary for Transportation. It is my recommendation this evening to add Anthony Saunders to be hired effective Wednesday. So that interview concluded this afternoon. We've subsequently offered the position. He has accepted, and I've added him to the agenda for approval this evening. Thank you, President Kohler.
You're welcome. And I believe that Mr. Darrow also has an item that he would like to add to the agenda.
Yes, I would like to add a discussion item for the board related to putting the board compensation at risk.
Okay. It will be a discussion item only, not you.
And an action item. And an action item.
And an action item?
Yes.
Okay. Let's add that then onto on page 2. Under the consent agenda items, board items for action, and we'll make that A5. And with those 2 changes, are there any others before we take a roll call? Nope. Ms. Jenkins?
Do you need a motion and a second?
We haven't.
You did it.
Oh, we didn't? Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Thank you. Now we have done. This has been quite a day for me. Could we please have a roll call?
Ms. Kalinowski? Yes. Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes. And that leads us into the meat of our agenda this evening, much of which will come through the presentations and reports from our superintendent, Mr. Sawyers.
Thank you, President Kohler. President Kohler, members of the Board of Education, I'll be brief this evening. I have one major topic I'd like to discuss, and it's really for our public purposes. This afternoon, Hanover Research, as you'll recall in the email communications that I've sent both to you as well as staff and our parent population throughout the school district, we're doing a communication survey to try to inform how we can better communicate with our parents and families at the classroom, school, and district level. This was part of my 100-day plan, if you recall previously, of how we improve our communication strategies to better meet the needs of our students and their families specifically across the school district. We partner with Hanover Research. The actual survey was released this afternoon. Our families within the school district will actually receive an email directly from Hanover. Check your spam just in case of your filter settings, but you will send it multiple times to make sure they actually do receive it. And then after you do complete it, you'll no longer receive the email from the school district. Our goal is in the next 3+ weeks, the majority of our families will actually tell us what their preferences are for increasing communication strategies, again, at the classroom, school, and district level based upon the previous feedback we received from our greater school community at large. So Mr. Galloway, Mrs. Steele, and the communications department were instrumental in working with my office to put the survey together with Hanover. It was released today, and we would greatly appreciate parent participation. It is 1 per family, so if there is 2-member household, which are the majority of our families in our school district, we ask that you collaborate or think about how your spouse might also want to respond. It's 1 per household. Is basically the way it was geared from PowerSchool when we downloaded the email addresses to communicate. So we would appreciate having that participation. Beyond that, several other items that we're going to talk at length about this evening are actually part of the actual agenda, and I believe we'll actually spend some time on them in the discussion when we're actually in the agenda to specifically talk about some changes that are impacting personnel throughout the school district. So with that, I will be brief and conclude my commentary for this evening.
Are there any questions?
What's the timeline for people to do the survey?
Patrick, what's the deadline?
I believe November 11th.
Yeah, it's just before, the week before Thanksgiving is what I believe it to be. So we gave 3 weeks.
Are we, I know it's much more difficult to survey people who do not have kids in our schools, but do we have any ideas for how to reach those folks as well?
That could come in a future survey. This was specifically geared towards how we communicate with families in the school district to better meet the needs of their children, which clearly are students within the school district. We can talk about other surveys to meet the needs of the school district as we look towards the future. We actually just did conclude the Gallup survey for students enrolled in the school district in grades 5 through 12 to collect information specifically from students. It'll probably be 3 to 4 weeks before we get the Gallup data back. I anticipate being able to publicly report about that at our November board meeting, presuming that I get the results back from Gallup. But we are starting the survey process as one of the culture climate goals that was included in the benchmarks for the continuous improvement plan. It's number 7. So we are moving forward to meet those expectations of the board.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. I know we do have a plea update this evening.
Do you want to discuss the 5-year forecast?
Oh, gosh. I wonder if I could just have a do-over the whole day. Do you mind? We're going to do the 5-year forecast and then come back to you.
You're fine. If you can stay there, it's only going to take a minute.
Okay.
So I received no additional feedback. So unless there are additional questions from the last meeting, the 5-year forecast that I submitted for approval tonight and for discussion is exactly the same as the one we went through.
That's good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bowler and fellow board members, my name is Carla Toplak, and I am a first grade teacher currently here in New Albany. I've worked in the district since 1999, and I am here to represent our association and share a few things that have been going on. First, I'd like to share that Mandy McNamara and Sandy Wilmore Reed attended a 2-day TIE conference presented by the Consortium of Ohio Technology and Chemistry, sponsored and paid for by a number of chemical companies around the state, including Ashland and PPG. The companies brought numerous representatives from the STEM field as an outreach project for educators to help build college and career-ready opportunities in the chemical engineering field. They were able to attend a number of hands-on workshops that provided them with lessons and supplies to use with their students to inspire them in the fields of technology, physics, and chemistry. Their goal is to build a supplemental chemistry unit into a grade 7 curriculum that they feel is much needed to inspire their students and help prepare them for grade 8 physical science high school credit course. I'd also like to share that the New Albany High School Humanities Department attended the When East Meets West Academic Symposium. This wonderful full day of symposium featured scholars, professors, and politicians discussing the role of the state and the role of the citizen in ancient China, ancient Greece, and modern America, focusing upon the great philosophers Socrates and Confucius, as well as the category-creating historians Herodotus and Sima Qian. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Drama director Elliot Lemberg has joined a professional learning community of other drama directors in Central Ohio. The PLC includes Marcia Bustler of Watkins Memorial High School, Janetta Davis of Columbus School for Girls, Alan D. Carlo of Pickerington High School North, Cindy McCutchie of Gahanna Lincoln High School, Dan Scroven of Olentangy Liberty High School, Eileen Targett of Pickerington High School Central. Mr. Lemberg and the other directors had their first meeting on Monday in mid-September, and will continue to meet every month to discuss collaboration, curricula, pedagogy, and share resources. And lastly, Mrs. Ministeri and Kate Thornton presented to the 2-5 staff on PBIS, Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, also called PBS. It's a broad range of systematic and individualized strategies for achieving important social learning outcomes in school communities while preventing problem behavior. The key attributes of PBIS include preventative activities, data-based decision-making, and a problem-solving orientation. A presentation introducing PBIS was provided to all the 2-5 staff on in-service day. This introduction to PBIS laid the foundation for forming a PBIS committee comprised of 21 staff members, and that committee has begun their work with plans to pilot PBIS in the spring. Just a few tidbits going on.
That's great.
Thank you.
I don't know if the rest of you saw, there was a really interesting article in the Sunday Dispatch about local theater programs and their productions and how the choice of the plays and musicals are actually made, and Mr. Lemberg was included in that article as well. So, do we have anyone from OPSI here with us this evening?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, well, then this is our first opportunity for public participation. I don't believe we've had anyone who has signed up as of yet. And that brings us to the consent agenda items for this evening. I would like to propose that we take items A1 through A4 as a group, and then we vote on A5 separately, since that is new to us this evening. A5 is the item that Mr. Darrow proposed adding to the agenda this evening. So could I have a motion, please, for board items for action A1 through A4?
Is there a period to comment after the motion?
Yes.
Then so moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Then let's take these first four. We'll take them one at a time. The first item is a motion to amend the treasurer's contract. And I know this is something that Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Darrow have been working on together. So I'll ask you, Phil, if you would share where we are on this particular item.
Happy to do so. So as we all know, over the last several months, we've worked very hard to establish clarity in terms of the purpose of the district and the superintendent's purpose in his role. We have equally worked very hard to establish clear objective goals associated with that purpose. And along the way, we also have worked hard to align the performance compensation element of the compensation for our superintendent and now treasurer with the statement of purpose and with our goals. And I am really extraordinarily happy to announce to the board and members of the public the results of that discussion with Treasurer Jenkins. Treasurer Jenkins has a 5-year contract with the district that was agreed to not yet a year ago, and the terms of that contract were negotiated in good faith and she had every right to keep them exactly as they are. And in discussion over the goals and objectives for the district and for the superintendent, was asked whether she would be willing to amend her contract to align the performance compensation portion of her pay with those of the district and the superintendent. And without hesitation, Treasurer Jenkins agreed to do so, and so the language that we are asking to be amended here, approved here, is identical to Mr. Sawyer's language. And even more impressively, the original contract that Treasurer Jenkins had provided for the opportunity for base pay increases associated with achievement of the performance pay. And again, on her own and without hesitation, Ms. Jenkins agreed to instead put even lesser amounts at risk, lesser amounts than what the base pay increase would be at risk associated with performance pay, and gave up the opportunity for a nearly automatic base pay increase in exchange for performance pay. It is a remarkable statement of confidence in the direction of the board, in statement of confidence in the leadership of Superintendent Sawyers, and really is something to be celebrated, and I'm grateful for your willingness to do so. Lastly, I know that there can be challenges when the performance pay is discussed after it has been earned, and I, for one, say here this evening that given the clear objective nature of these goals and objectives, given the fact that they are numerical in nature, that they are objectively verified, they are available to the public, they relate to both academic achievement and financial management, financial sustainability, that when Superintendent Sawyers and Treasurer Jenkins achieve these results, I will proudly sit here, and acknowledge that they have earned that performance pay and will not hesitate to vote to award it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you. I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Darrow that I'd just like to reemphasize that this was not something that we approached you about. You came to us and said that you were willing to make these changes to align more completely with the direction of the board, and also to make certain that your contract was aligned with Mr. Sawyer's. And I too believe it's a tremendously powerful statement about your position here of leadership on this team and the direction that this leadership team intends to drive the district. So thank you. Thanks very much. And that actually segues into the next item that we have, which is to approve the performance goals for 2016-17 for both the superintendent and the treasurer. And I'm really pleased to announce that for the first time that I'm aware of, both the performance goals for Mr. Sawyers and Ms. Jenkins are extraordinarily specific and directly tied to several documents that we've been working on together for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 months now. They are specifically tied to the board's statement of purpose. They are tied to what the board has adopted as our commitment to excellence, which is actually the statement of purpose that has, it's further defined with specific measures and outcomes. And just so that we get used to hearing this, I'm going to share the commitment to excellence with us all again. And that is that the district aspires by 2021 to be ranked in the top 5%, number 30 or higher of 608 public school districts for student achievement in the state of Ohio, as reported by the Ohio Department of Education, which will require incremental progress of at least 1% annually. So understanding that then, the superintendent and the board, and this process was actually, I think, really led by our superintendent, to develop an actual focus for the year. And our focus for the year, which I know has been shared many times with certainly with our staff and also with our community, is that all employees will be accountable for implementing research-based practices, including a rigorous and aligned curriculum, common assessments, focused instruction, and data-driven decisions to achieve the best academic and developmental outcomes for every student within a fiscally sustainable budget. So what we're talking about here is a student-centered focus that is outcome-based. And I'm really pleased because I think it's so very, very clear what our work is for the rest of this year and well into the future. That focus was further defined with a series of 7 benchmarks that we've talked about in the past, and some of them have to do with achievement, some of them have to do with the way that we communicate with our stakeholders, and I'm certain that you are all familiar with those 7 benchmarks. But again, this is the first time, at least since my involvement on the Board of Education, where the superintendent and the treasurer's goals directly mirror each other. They are virtually, the goals themselves are identical. The measurements vary slightly. Just so it is such a powerful statement for us, I believe, where we have this clear understanding of what our purpose is, and then the work of our 2 leaders will be evaluated on the basis of how effective they are at helping us achieve those outcomes that we have previously defined. And those outcomes are, increasing student achievement, they're demonstrating sustainable fiscal management, they're ensuring community engagement and stakeholder satisfaction, and we heard a little bit about that already this evening. They're enhancing school culture and social emotional well-being, and all of those things are actually listed as goals for both the superintendent and the treasurer. And
they each have objective measurements.
And they all have objective measurements, right? Which will allow us to take the guesswork out of being able to correlate outcomes with expectations. And I think that the item that Phil is going to bring forward also in this section of the agenda about board compensation is going to also align just one more layer of the district with these goals, because what Mr. Darrow is going to propose is that the board's compensation be directly tied in its entirety to the achievement of our achievement and the second one, fiscal responsibility. So for the first time, I am very, very pleased to say that we complete vertical alignment. And our hope then is that because leadership is so closely aligned, we are all so firmly committed to where we're going, that this same sort of alignment and this same kind of drive and commitment to achieving these outcomes is going to be found at absolutely every other layer in the organization and throughout the community with our parents as well. So this is a very important night for us, I think. It's a night of huge celebration. We have made incredible progress. We have come a long way, and much of it is due to these two individuals here who we all feel very confident in. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say about the performance goals.
Covered it for me.
Okay, well then, Phil, maybe.
One more thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should celebrate when we achieve these things.
Yes.
What kind of party?
I don't know.
Are we going to your house after
Well,
that?
I just think it's really important when we achieve these goals. I just think it's important to to acknowledge it and to celebrate the achievement.
Absolutely.
When we get there.
Yeah,
When?
Right, yeah.
Not if, but when.
Correct.
when we get there.
I would agree when, and there's a lot of work between now and when.
Yeah.
We know.
There's a lot of work between now and when.
We have time to plan our celebration.
Just time to plan.
So don't order the cocktail napkins yet.
I make one other
I'll keep that in
Yes,
check.
of course.
I would like to make one other comment. It really goes back to what President Kohler has alluded to for the vertical alignment. Systemically and systematically, the same expectation and charge was given to senior leadership, my cabinet members, for senior leaders within the school district, the administrative team. That's now being replicated through the building level, which will then translate to direct levels of observation for performance at the building level for both classified and certified staff members. So the same performance compensation conversation we're having this evening, if it applies to senior level leaders within the school district pursuant to the terms and conditions of their contract, they too will have the same risk factor that Mr. Darrow is going to talk about, because it's already been replicated throughout my senior team to the building level administrators. So what you're about to do this evening is already in place for the administrative staff as eligible within the school district.
It's great. More good news. The other big item that we have on the agenda this evening is another item that Phil has been working closely on. And Phil, would you lead us through items 3 and 4? They're both motions to approve memorandum of understandings and agreements with one with our Teachers Association and the others with our non-certified association.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And while I've been working on it, there have been many people working on it as well, even longer and harder. I participate in quite a few meetings, but the work that goes on between meetings to have something to meet about has been rather significant. So here's the big picture. Health insurance is expensive. We all know health insurance is expensive. Our district has been self-insured for a little less than a year, which is appropriate for an organization of this size. And yet we also read in the paper and hear on the news how premiums, insurance premiums continue to rise. We are not immune from that rise. And as a result of a pretty significant experience ratio, which means there was a lot of money spent on healthcare services, we were faced with a very, very large premium increase. In fact, only based on our experience ratio, we could have been looking at a 45% premium increase. A 45% premium increase. As a result of the work of the two insurance committees that are working, one at the district level, one at the board level, result of the work of treasurer and superintendent, our new broker, the representatives of our two labor associations, everybody working together, we have been able to get that premium increase reduced to 21.69%, which is still a lot. It is a lot. And the way it's structured, it is the way that 21.69% ends up working out is it's more than double on a premium level for the employees, for the people who are on the plan. The premium cost to the employees is a little over 116% this year or this coming year from the current year. It is a very, very large increase. We recognize how painful that is for so many people. And again, all the people that I listed, all the groups that I listed have been working very closely together. And while it is a very painful thing to be a part of a diverse group of people all coming in with a different point of view and able to work together to solve this problem is actually very rewarding. And there's been no animosity. It's just been working together to try to solve a problem, and it's been pretty impressive. So as a result of that, the proposal was to find a third alternative to our existing contractually obligated health plans that would more or less or largely solve this problem for the vast majority of our associates, of our colleagues here. And with their permission, we have the approval from the two associations to present this option, and that's what's on our agenda today. And the option is for a high deductible health plan that will serve at least 75 to 80% of our current plan participants and actually result in premiums that, for them, that are below this current year's premiums. So it is a very substantial improvement in the premium picture. In addition to that, the savings are sufficient enough that the board is able to offer to participants who choose that plan, and it is an optional plan for district employees. It is not required, it's an option, but it's one we wanted to make sure they had. So the savings are sufficient to allow us to also offer to partially fund their health savings account effective January 1st for those who choose the new plan. And the plan at this point is to fund that to the tune of $750 for individual participants and $2,000 for family participants in the health plan. To put that in context, again, the work of the insurance committees has enabled us to uncover exactly how the insurance plan is working in New Albany. And what we find is that more than 75% of plan participants in New Albany spend less than $1,000 a year on healthcare. And when we dive deeper, the average was around $350 per plan participant. So the $750 into an HSA account more than covers what the vast majority of our associates would be spending in a given year. That number jumps to 82% almost if you go up to $2,000. So that means roughly 82% of our plan participants spend less than $2,000 in a plan year on actual health care services. And so that's where that $2,000 number comes in. So the idea is to offer this plan. It is different than what our folks are used to seeing, and a huge part, shouldn't use that word, people laugh, a huge part of this new plan option is the education component. Fortunately, we are in a school district. Education is the business of this district. I am confident that we will handle the education component. It really requires a lot of time spent with individuals. Because it's a big change, we have to have the ability and have to set aside the time to sit down with individuals and actually walk through their unique situation and give them the tools they need to make the decision that they need to make for them and their families. And so we are committed to working through that process as well. We have a very tight timeline to make that happen, but Superintendent Sawyers, Treasurer Jenkins, and their team are already working to set up dates to go through the education process, and we are committed to making sure that education takes place so people can make fully informed decisions. Did I miss anything of consequence?
No, I think you did a wonderful job trying to summarize nearly a month's work of hardcore work very succinctly. The only other comment that I would add, because it's a question that we've actually received, is in relationship to the incentive. The incentive is possible based upon the cost savings of the board and the premium with the new plan design, as Mr. Darrow indicated. It's only applicable to employees electing the new plan design. If you remain on the existing plan design as your choice, there is no incentive because it's still costing the board the additional premium that would not be offset by the new plan design. So it's not that one group is getting an incentive and another group that would not choose the new plan design is not. There is no incentive if you remain on the existing plan because the premium is increasing costs for the Board of Education. So the employee cost goes up, the board cost goes up. So the incentive is only applicable to the new plan design if it's so elected by the employee.
And only for this, this coming plan year.
Correct. It's January 1st through December 31st. So it's the first year.
And critically, that money in the health savings account would be deposited at the beginning of the year so that folks who choose that plan have money in their health savings account on day one to pay for medical expenses under the deductible.
Right. My other comment is to really echo the comments of Mr. Darrow related to the insurance committee representing PLE, OPSI, the administration, and the board. It really has been a very collaborative effort. Joe is here this evening with Jill from PLE as the elected officials of their organization, but Joe has sat at the table for weeks on end trying to help us create a viable solution for employees that gives them a choice, because we as the insurance committee felt that it was our responsibility to try to do something to benefit all employees within the school district. And again, it becomes their choice. But the insurance committee on the PLE OPSI administration side with Mr. Darrow as the board member has really done an extensive amount of work with the broker, Grady Enterprises. So Joe Grady is the new broker that we hired at a previous board meeting. Has also been instrumental. So I just want to thank them publicly for all the time, effort, and commitment that's gone into this. We've spent a lot of time behind the scenes. It comes with the territory and we expect it, but there's been a lot of time and dedication by staff members to benefit staff members to at least give a qualified choice based upon your official action this evening. So they have taken their collective actions, and I would strongly encourage you to do the same and give employees the choice by adopting this evening.
So one final comment for me in advance of any questions that we might have is this is a different type of plan than many people are used to, and I've already mentioned the education component. My comment is in the form of a request, which is that everyone keep an open mind and learn first before making any opinions or judgments. There's a lot to learn. We certainly want to make sure that folks get the education that they need to make informed decisions. But really, this is all about providing an opportunity for folks to solve a real meaningful problem for all the folks who work here in the district. And I'm really excited about the work that the committees have done to make it happen. So.
What is the deadline for enrollment for employees?
Open enrollment is the first 2 to 3 weeks of November. So we'll be working through that process. Phil is right, very tight timeline. Then because we take out the employee share of premium the month before it's due. So that's why we have such a quick turnaround. But we're confident that we can get all of this done in the education. We've already looked at a couple of days next week where we start having options beginning at 6 o'clock in the morning. Love that. And goes clear to like 9 o'clock at night. So
are these one-on-one sit downs?
These will be, so 2 of the days will be group meetings, and based on those, folks can ask for one-on-one, which will be the off days.
Okay.
Becky
and then next week.
Becky and I are working to create the structure. We're meeting with the broker tomorrow, and then we meet with the insurance committee again, which is staff, on Thursday to go through the plan. So we will have final details before the end of the week to share with all staff members throughout the school district. But we have our shell prepared. Now we need to know if the broker believes it's feasible to do, because it is extremely aggressive in what we've outlined.
And one of the most common questions we get is about preventive care. Preventive care is covered under all qualifying health insurance plans with no copay and no deductible. So that remains the case with this new plan option as well.
Right.
Any other questions?
I just would say thanks for everybody for their hard work on this, and it's great to see everybody working together. And I know it's unfortunate with the increase in the premium, but glad that we're able to work together and get this done. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. Thank you for all the work that went into this.
Right, across the board. through everyone who has been involved. That's great. It's, you know, it is wonderful that we've been able to collaborate to come up with another option to help our employees deal with what is a very, very trying set of circumstances. So, congratulations to all, and let us know what you need as you work through the education period. Sure. Okay.
So that covers 3 and 4, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're still up for.
Well, we need to take a roll call on
Oh,
this.
Roll
yes,
call
I'm
1
sorry.
through 4.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Could we do that then, please?
Mr. Darrow,
Yes.
Mr. McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Mr. Newhoff,
Yes.
President Kohler.
Yes. So items A1 through A4 are passed, and could I now have a motion for item A5, which,
So moved.
Second.
thank you. Oh, okay. Mr. Darrow, would you like to actually
Sure.
introduce the resolution? Oh, okay.
So do I describe first or read first? Does
I
it
would
matter?
give a brief description
Okay.
and I would read the resolution.
Will do. I follow instructions on occasion. So the very short explanation for this, you've already heard how members of the leadership team are in alignment with the statement of purpose and the expectations for the continuous improvement plan, the goals and objectives for this year. We thought that it would be appropriate that the board be similarly aligned. I don't know how many folks know, but we get paid. We don't get paid a lot, but it is real money. It totals $700 a year, and I don't want to sniff at $700. It's $700. But we do get paid over the course of a year, and yet our payment is essentially guaranteed. Once we're elected, we get paid. And we thought that we should be in alignment in the same way that we are asking our leadership team and all the folks in our district to be aligned. And so the resolution that I'll read here in just a second is to align our pay, to put it all at risk, such that when the district achieves its educational and financial management goals, we will earn our pay and not before. So that's the short explanation. So, resolution, whereas the New Albany Plain Local School District, in its continuous improvement plan for 2016-17, has made a commitment to excellence to be achieved through the application of system-wide principles of accountability, and whereas the state of Ohio has established rigorous accountability requirements for individual educators through an evaluation system incorporating student growth measures and for school district level performance as reflected in the district report card system. And whereas this board believes that continuous improvement is best achieved through the identification of specific goals and the appropriate assignment of responsibility for achieving those goals. And whereas the members of the board further believe that they, who collectively serve as the governing authority of the district, should not be excluded from the requirements of accountability and should, whenever possible, model a commitment to accountability in the procedures relating to their own operation and governance. Be it therefore resolved that the compensation of school board members in the New Albany Plain Local School District should no longer be entirely automatic, but should be subject to conditions of accountability linked to the achievement of district goals. And be it further resolved, the policy amendment approved by this resolution shall be implemented for individual board members beginning January 1st, 2017.
Question. This is written so that, is it going to be the board's expectation that all district goals, or that our goals will be the same as the superintendent and treasurer's goals, or will our goals be differentiated?
Our goals will be, we will only have 2 as opposed to the number that the superintendent and treasurer have. Those 2 will be the achievement improvement goal associated with the state report card results, and with the financial management goal associated with a reduction of 1% in the spending. Just two. Educational outcomes and financial sustainability.
Are there any comments or questions or?
Do we need to specify those goals? Are they specified in here?
Since he just did,
Did I misread it?
since he just did, I will incorporate that into the minutes.
Okay.
Good question.
Gonna get my Robert's Rules of Order and have it with me.
I've got a book about this thick. Right next time.
Outstanding.
Any comments from the board members?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think, again, aligning completely. I'll just say briefly, I had a couple conversations with community members this week, and the comment has been about the feeling that people are having about just this, which is there seems to be clear direction, clear goals. We're all moving in the same place. And that's being recognized in the community. And I think this is just another step in that direction. We are definitely on the right track here. This is a tiny, tiny piece of it, to be sure. But to demonstrate our alignment with everything else that everybody, I mean, what we've been talking about for the last 45 minutes, with what we've already done with the superintendent's goals, with what Treasurer Jenkins has done with her compensation, with the openness of the associations to look at options for their healthcare plan. I really hope people see this tonight and understand the collaborative effort that's going on here to drive us to a wonderful place. And so this is a small piece of it, but I wholeheartedly support this. I'm voting yes, and I'm just really excited about where we're going.
Ditto. I just feel like this is the right thing to do. You all and your leadership team have shown so much leadership around all of this that I feel like this is a no-brainer.
I would do the job for free to start with, but I will do all I can to achieve that $700 a pay. And if we achieve it, we're doing right by the district and right by our great team here. So I'm going to vote yes as well, but glad to see all the progress we're making. Lots of work to do.
We know, lots of work.
There's a lot of work.
It's easy to talk. We know there's lots of work.
There's a lot of work. But I will tell you, if I may, you're probably the first Board of Education that I ever know of in the state of Ohio that's actually taken this action. There are board members that donate their monetary stipend, and it's really just that. For all the hours you have to put in, the $700 doesn't really represent the time and value of your commitment, that donated back. But I don't know of any board in the state of Ohio. So Patrick, we'll have to do a little research through OSBA, that I don't think there's any Board of Education anywhere that I've ever heard in the state of Ohio that's taken public action to put your salary at risk based upon increasing student achievement and holding yourself accountable to financial sustainability through a budget reduction of 1%. So congratulations.
I can tell you
this is historic.
When I ran this past our attorney, they haven't heard of anyone in the state of Ohio. So my guess is there aren't any other boards that have done that.
Well,
So we can be different.
we can be different, and
We're New Albany. We're the number one.
and we can put our money where our mouths are. right? And that's kind of what it's all about. And in the same way that the change that Ms. Jenkins was willing to make to her contract, in a way that is much more symbolic than impactful to our actual school budget. I think that by doing this, that we are truly standing with the entire team, the entire school district, and it expresses both our solidarity with the direction that we're going in and our confidence that we're going to achieve these goals. So,
Vote?
it's time for a vote.
Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. McClelland?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes, and that motion carries. That then leads us to our treasurer's items for action. Those are items B1 and B2. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. And
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Jenkins?
Financial statement is for September. We are 3 months into our fiscal year and are on plan in all areas. And then the second is the motion to approve the 5-year forecast. As I spoke earlier, I've made no changes to the forecast that was presented to you 2 weeks ago. So just looking for approval so that I can get that submitted on time.
Right. And again, we've all had the opportunity to look over both the September financial statement and the 5-year forecast. I'm sure that if any of us had questions, they've been asked and answered at this point, but are there any further questions this evening? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes, that motion carries. And that leads us to the superintendent's items for action. They are in 2 parts. And it would, I'm looking for a motion for items C1A through DE. Looks like our numbering is a little off, but we all know what we mean. So, thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
You confuse them with DE.
I know.
Okay.
Okay. Did it get fixed on the final agenda?
No.
No, okay. Good. That's one that I didn't goof up.
I will take responsibility for that because I helped with the last part of the agenda. My administrative assistant has been out ill. So
Well, we found something he's not very good at.
He usually is, but there's been a lot of stuff going on.
there's been a few other things going on, so we were working through it. So President Kohler, members of the board, before you are standard employee agenda items for personnel action. In the first section that President Kohler alluded to, I will draw your attention to page 3, letter E. The 3 retirements that you're accepting this evening. I want to publicly thank Leonard Hager, Francine Hughes, and Lois Singer for their continuous service to the school district. We will recognize them at the end of the school year at the retirement reception. However, they have announced the retirements respectively for November, January, and March. And we will begin the process necessary to review their positions to determine if in fact they will get filled or modified for the future in the same way. Additionally, under letter D, letter B, for subset for donations, clearly it's always wonderful to receive donations to the school district. Highlight for your attention this evening the donation from New Albany Symphony Orchestra to specifically support the orchestra students within our school district with a donation to their department. We have a wonderful collaboration between the school district and working with the symphony through Kappa, but a great relationship that benefits our kids throughout the school district. Letters C and D are curriculum additions and or highlights for corrections specifically for the high school. For notation purposes, and I apologize because I should have said this during the correction, but in looking at this page, I see Dr. Hamilton over there, and she reminded me that under letter C for the motion to approve the new course, this course is actually not new for the 17-18 school year. It's actually in place right now at the high school. And in the curriculum audit that Dr. Hamilton's been doing, we discovered that the Board of Education took action to adopt the Honors Anatomy and Physiology course, but in the Project Lead the Way pathway, the second course is Honors Anatomy and Physiology with Human Body Systems. So it has a different course title because of the weight associated to it within the Project Lead the Way pathway. So Dr. Hamilton actually discovered this and working through the curriculum audit at the high school. So I would just ask you to strike effective the 2017-18 school year. I apologize, I should have said during the correction, but didn't have it noted. And I just looked down and saw Dr. Hamilton and remembered a conversation we had late this afternoon. Beyond that, I welcome any other questions you may have related to the agenda items presented for you this evening.
Are there any questions? Are we ready to take a vote? Okay. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes, and that motion carries. This is our second opportunity for public participation, and we have no one signed up to speak this evening. We will need only a motion for adjournment, but before I entertain one, I'd like to point out and remind people that our next board meeting will be on November 28th, and we'll be here in this building at 6:30. So could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
President Kohler?
Yes, that motion carries and we stand adjourned. Thanks so much for coming.